All right, let's finally finish up this 1.09 lesson. This is a long reading, so it's taking us a little extra time. Okay, the last video we were on the section here about Marcus Garvey, so I'll try to figure out where we left off. I'm going to start here. Garvey's vision was one of separation from, not inclusion in American society. At one UNIA convention, Garvey urged blacks to leave America and establish their own republic in Africa. He called for the social and political separation of all peoples to the extent that they promote their own ideals and civilization. Garvey's separatist message was opposed by Du Bois and other black leaders. Du Bois called Garvey the most dangerous enemy of the Negro race. In black churches, ministers frequently denounced Garvey's ideas. Garvey was charged with committing mail fraud and found guilty. In 1925, he was sent to the federal penitentiary in Atlanta, and 2 years later was deported to Jamaica. The UNIA did not survive, though Garvey's black nationalist ideals would return with renewed force in later decades. Okay, this next part here, the Atlanta Exposition Address. It's going to be an excerpt from Booker T. Washington's speech that he gave there. I'm not going to read the whole speech, but I'll just give you the intro. In a speech delivered in Atlanta, Georgia on September 18, 1895, Booker T. Washington advocated the idea of economic success through hard work. He urged mostly illiterate black population to cast down your bucket where you are and accept work, even menial labor, as a means to an end. As part of what became known as the Atlanta Compromise, Washington seemed to accept segregation, at least as a temporary condition, because, as he put it, we can be as separate as the fingers until the day when all Americans become one as the hand. And Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois were eloquent leaders in the struggle for equality for African Americans, but their approaches differed in fundamental ways. Of Mr. Booker T. Washington and others, W.E.B. Du Bois rejected what he summed up as Booker T. Washington's program of industrial education, conciliation of the South, and submission and silence as to civil and political rights. Du Bois argued that a talented tenth of highly educated blacks must lead the race out of the second-class citizenship into both economic and political equality. In the following excerpts from the Souls of Black Folk, Du Bois directly takes on Washington, who had by this time, 1903, become the best-known black leader in America. Next, an excerpt from his speech. And then 598, I believe this is where we'll stop before we move on to the next lesson. Okay, so we just finished. We're not going to read this next page because that'll be long to tomorrow's lesson. But let's go back here to our lesson screen. You should have the reading guide completed. If you didn't fill it out as you're going through the reading, make sure you go back now, pause the video, and go back and check your answers. Go to the lesson answer key and check your answers. And then we're going to complete the Washington, Du Bois, and Garvey online activity. Separate but equal. By the end of the 19th century, laws enacted by white-controlled southern state legislatures had consigned blacks to segregated railroad and streetcars, hospitals and schools, and barred them from white-only restaurants, theaters, and amusement parks. These laws were challenged in the 1896 U.S. Supreme Court case of Plessy v. Ferguson. How did the High Court rule? Follow the directions in the student guide to begin today's lesson. When you have finished the offline portion of the lesson, complete this activity, Washington, Du Bois, and Garvey. Okay, so we're going to go through this. You will see a series of statements that Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois, or Marcus Garvey might have made. For each statement, decide who would have made such a statement and drag the speech balloon to that person.
You will see a series of statements that Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois, or Marcus Garvey might have made. For each statement, decide who would have made such a statement and drag the speech balloon to that person.
Okay, it's not letting me click ahead. I have to listen to the voice. So remember the fundamental differences between these three people. Booker T. Washington said that African Americans should work first to educate themselves and to get jobs and have economic freedom. And he said the segregation, the civil rights issues will come later. W.E.B. Du Bois said equality now. There is no need to keep African Americans in a subservient position. Equality should come right away. And Marcus Garvey a champion for African American pride, African American separatism, and eventually even breaking away from the United States and to have their own colony in Africa. Okay, let's begin. Okay, the who's
There can be no friendship and harmony with white people. We must learn to live separately.
Okay, we know that was Marcus Garvey.
Garvey believed this, but most civil rights leaders disagreed with him.
Next.
The educated and talented among us should take it upon themselves to take charge of the effort to gain equality.
Who said that? The educated and talented among them? It was Du Bois.
Du Bois himself was a Harvard graduate and a founder of the NAACP.
Next. We do not desire to be white. We are proud of our race.
We do not desire to be white. We are proud of our race.
That would be Garvey.
Garvey suggested that blacks should leave America and settle in Africa.
Next.
Blacks must learn job-specific skills that will help them escape the plight of the sharecropper.
Who said that? Booker T. Washington.
Washington focused his efforts on improving the economic status of African Americans. We demand an immediate end to segregation and a repeal of the laws that circumvent our 15th Amendment right to vote.
Who would have said that? Du Bois.
Du Bois' demands were not met until 1964 and 1965, when Congress passed sweeping legislation to guarantee blacks their rights.
Next. Segregation is acceptable.
Segregation is acceptable as long as we have access to good jobs and a chance to improve our lives.
Who would have said that among these three men? That would have been Booker T. Washington.
Washington was not a philosopher. He sought practical solutions to the problems of poverty and racism.
Next. It is important for blacks to start and own businesses to create social...
It is important for blacks to start and own businesses and to create social institutions just for blacks.
Who that would have been? Garvey, for sure.
Garvey wanted more than just the opportunity to make good money working for whites.
I do not mind confronting white society with our demands for civil rights.
Confronting white society with our demands for civil rights, and believe that protest marches and boycotts can help our cause. Du Bois said, "Until we get these rights, we will never cease to protest and assail the ears of America."
Who worked in...
Although I work in secret to fund civil rights lawsuits, I believe that blacks should accept their inferior social position for now.
Who would have said that? Booker T. Washington.
Washington did not believe in permanent segregation, but thought the tide could not be turned quickly.
And at the end, you should have gotten this message. Write the following word down. You'll need to receive credit for completing this activity. And make sure you write it down carefully or even copy and paste it, because this is one that people spell wrong. And we don't want you to spell it wrong because then it gets marked wrong. So please copy it down correctly or copy and paste it into the checkpoint that you'll be completing next. Niagara. Because that'll be the last thing in the lesson. Complete your 109 checkpoint. Go to your checkpoint and get into the checkpoint and enter the word that we had there and put that to submit for grading. Okay, that brings an end to the 1.09 lesson, and good luck on getting your checkpoint correct. See you in the next lesson.